Hello, my friends. Welcome to today's podcast. I'm your host, Samantha, and today we are talking about astral projection and lucid dreaming. But before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to remind you that if you like this podcast, please feel free to subscribe, click the like button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new episodes. New episodes are uploaded every Friday, so if you don't see me in your notifications, you can always check back then. Now, before we begin, how are you today? I hope you are well. At the very core of my practice is neither spells nor rituals. These are important, but are nothing without direction. We can find direction through divination, which I often do, but there are other methods that I have found to be helpful. Those being lucid dreaming and astral travel, or better known as astral projection. These are things I've been doing for a very long time, well before I even realized what they were, which was a pretty commonplace thing before the invention of the internet. When we work magic, we are attempting to change or direct the energies in our lives. We do this in what is often called the astral plane. This is a plane of existence beyond our physical forms. It is the unseen. And when I say unseen, I perhaps could define that better by calling it the currently unseen, as I believe these energies and forces are very much real in our lives. It is just not commonplace to see them with our eyes, but they can certainly be felt. But what is the difference between these things? Before we discuss that, we first need to define what they are. And for the sake of time, these will be very short descriptions. Lucid dreaming is being aware you are dreaming while dreaming. By being aware, you can control how you respond to the environment and even what that environment is in the first place at times. Astral travel is much the same, but from my experience, lucid dreaming happens on a deeper level of proverbial sleep. For example, when I am lucid dreaming, I allow my subconscious to select the environment I am in. But when I'm astral traveling, I am the one choosing the environment. Both, at least to my understanding, happen in what is called the hypnagogic state, or the transitional state between sleep and awake. Studies have found that in this state, one might experience hallucinations of sounds, feelings, sights, and so on. This phenomena affects approximately 12% of people regularly. The different stages of sleep are quite fascinating, but I am not a sleep specialist and do not feel it is my place to go into detail about these stages. But the hypnagogic state has been the best way to describe where it is I am able to go on these journeys. Both require me to be relaxed and physically supported. I have to feel that I am in a safe place. I find the best time for lucid dreaming to be in the middle of the day, especially that sleepy time most of us experience just after lunch. Lucid dreaming is not something I have been able to do so much at bedtime because at that point I am too tired and fall too deep into sleep. But midday seems to work best. Astral travel, on the other hand, at least for me, can be done anytime. Again, I simply need to be able to deeply relax. I will put on a long track of music I'm familiar with, get comfortable, and begin my journey. One important thing I think to mention is, at least for me, the music can be almost anything. You do not have to limit yourself to meditation tracks or any of the like. One of my favorite tracks to travel to is Ever Loving by Moby, but I've also, believe it or not, had successful journeys while listening to hip-hop or even metal music. Listening to music from your past is a great way to uncover questions you might have about that past. I will choose where I am going before I get settled in, put on the music, and begin my journey. Oftentimes, I don't end up where I began, as I allow my mind to take me where I need to be, but giving myself a good jumping off point has been very helpful. It is important to become a non-judgmental observer of what you see. Allow the visions to flow to you and interact with them when you want more information. For example, in one of my recent journeys, I was in a building that had a door propped open to the outside, and the sunlight was beaming in. Something told me this was an important detail, so I investigated it further. As it turned out, that small detail held the answer to my question. I will say that through these practices, specifically astral travel, I've been able to heal many of the traumas I've experienced in my life. I've also used astral travel to find answers to questions I've had. One specific thing I have been able to at least mostly heal is my childhood. I read a very profound quote the other day that said, "Healing isn't becoming something else. It's releasing what you are not." Through my astral travels, I've been able to have discussions with my past selves well before any of the conditioning and injuries I've experienced as an adult. This allowed me to get in touch with my true self, or the core of my being in its natural state. I've even been able to remove my past self from scary or harmful situations and bring them to a safe place that I have designed in my own mind. This is something that has been paramount to my own healing journey. One difference I have found between lucid dreaming and astral travel is astral travel is good for specific questions, and lucid dreaming is better for when you don't know what to ask. As with divination, sometimes we just want some clarity, but don't know which questions to ask. Sometimes it's suggested that we have to have a complete out-of-body experience in order to fully experience the astral. And I'm not sure if what I experience counts as an out-of-body experience, but that's not important. The astral is a birthright to each and every one of us who wish to traverse it. And there are many different paths to the astral, and I suppose how it is experienced is different for each person. For me, I know I've had a successful journey when I bring myself out and have completely forgotten where my physical body was. I might even forget what year it is for a moment, or even what planet I am on. I find it very important to take a few moments to realign myself with reality when I return. One of the best ways to do this is by nibbling on something small like a cookie or a cracker and sipping water, juice, or your beverage of choice. One thing I think that we should touch on, though, is the use of hallucinogens. There are many who make claim that these substances are helpful and even beneficial. And while in some cases I'm sure it is helpful, hallucinogens are not something I have chosen to include in my travels. Firstly, I have never felt any difficulty when reaching these planes. It's just something that has come naturally to me. I feel like that is a door that has always been open to me, and even at times, hard to close. Beyond that, I feel that by including altering substances in astral travel could alter my perception of the visions I'm seeing, as well as those visions themselves. I will say I have used cannabis in the past to promote relaxation, but even then, I find at times I became too relaxed and simply fell asleep. I do not pass judgment on anyone who has chosen to use hallucinogens. It's just not for me. Personally, I prefer to have a clear mind when I travel. As far as my studies conclude, there is no tangible proof that the astral even exists. But does it have to? Spirituality exists, yet it cannot be seen. Love, fear, happiness, and excitement exist without being seen. We might be able to see them expressed by body language and speech, but you cannot fill a bowl with love or hate. Spirituality is one dimension of human life that can be valid without being proven through scientific methods. Perhaps one day we'll have advanced enough technology to understand this phenomenon, as it is currently being actively studied. But until then, I feel we can safely chalk it up to one of those mysteries and magics of life. I am someone who truly tries to validate my spiritual experiences through science, or at least philosophy. However, sometimes it just cannot be done. This is something that I even cannot fully explain, but I don't think I need to. Astral projection and lucid dreaming is something that even I cannot fully explain, but I don't think I need to. It is something that works and has helped me in ways I cannot even express. It has helped me to heal and to better know myself. And sometimes, some questions just don't need answers. So I suppose that is all for today, my friends. Have you ever tried to astral travel, or have you experienced lucid dreaming? I would love to hear about it in the comment section below. And so, my friends, I bid you a very fond farewell until we meet again.